So today we're going to be talking about whether or not ESO Plus is worth it. We're going to talk about some things. Why I think it's worth it, especially if you play ESO a lot. But also let's consider the perspective of someone that may not play ESO very much. Maybe they can only play, a couple hours a week. So the Elder Scrolls Online is a free-to-play game with an asterisk, of course. So it's actually something you buy once and then it's free. So it's a buy to play, at least in my mind. That's how I would put it. Don't know why it's considered a free-to-play game. So with that being said, ESO Plus is a premium membership. You get some perks each month having ESO Plus active, but it's definitely not necessary to enjoy the game. I wouldn't say it's even remotely needed, especially if you're only a player that's going to play a couple hours a week. What are those perks, you might ask? Well, perk number one is a bonus to XP. In the game. Yes, 10% bonus to every incoming source of experience points that you get. That's monsters, that's quests, any bonus, any XP that you get in the game. It's extra 10% right off the bat. Now some might argue that it's really not worth it because it's only 10%, and that is definitely the case if you only play a few hours a week, 2 to 3, whatever. But if you're playing, quite a bit, it's probably worth it to you. Now, whether or not that 10% is worth it to you, that is up to you. If it is worth it to you and you only play 2 hours a week, then that's fine. But so perk number two would be the DLC dungeons. So instead of buying each DLC game pack that comes out, you will get these with ESO Plus for free. Now, major perk to this is you could buy ESO Plus for a few months, run all these dungeons, and then you'd have the skill point, you'd have the quest done, and you could also have time to farm the gear that corresponds with the dungeon. So free dungeons, pretty cool. So the third thing that ESO Plus gives you is crowns. So the amount of crowns you receive when you buy ESO Plus is determined on the amount of time you subscribe to ESO Plus. I'm not exactly sure on the numbers, but I think for each month you subscribe, you get 1,650 crowns. Now, when we look at the crown store, it's a fair amount of crowns, I would say. It's not a lot because there's definitely things in here that you can buy that are, whatever, 2,000 crowns, 1,500 crowns. There's even some that are, 500 crowns. So do with that what you will. But if you buy a year's worth, you get a substantial amount of crowns, enough to buy a house and fill it with furniture. So my favorite thing, number 4, would be the craft bag. Now, this craft bag is incredibly important for anybody that likes crafting in the game, obviously. So we all know crafting revolves around collecting a lot of resources, and those resources tend to clog up bank slots or inventory spaces, and that is always a struggle in MMOs and games. And so with that being said, so this craft bag essentially lets you store every single item that is used for crafting, that is, in the game, in this unlimited bag right here, and it's accessible across account wide. So one character is an enchanter, and the other character is a woodworker or a blacksmith, whatever, it doesn't matter. If one character collects it, you can access it from the other character. It's basically unlimited bank space, essentially, just for crafting items. Now, like I said, if you're a crafter, this is incredibly important, and this alone makes ESO Plus more than worth it. Because usually if you're a crafter in a video game, you play quite a bit, because it takes time to master that craft and collect the resources, whether you buy them off of the guild stores or whatever, or you go and farm them yourself. It's very time consuming to try to play inventory management with a bunch of mule characters, so to speak. One cool thing about the craft bag is you get to keep it after you are unsubscribed. Now there's a kicker. You can't add to it, but you can take out of it, and it still holds everything, even though you don't have ESO Plus subscribed, okay? So I know what some people do is they'll farm a ton, especially during like an exploration event that's going on or something like that, and they'll just stock up on supplies, or they'll buy a bunch of stuff, right? Well, what you can do is you can subscribe for a month, do that, and then essentially have a nice little stock of crafting supplies, and then not have ESO Plus active. You can always take out, you just can't put in. But as soon as you have ESO Plus active again, all the crafting items that you have harvested will immediately go into that craft bag. So number 5 would be bank space. Now bank space is important. It's, you know, it's obviously an account-wide inventory space that you can store stuff, right? Well, with ESO Plus, you get double the bank space. So essentially this 480, if I did not have ESO Plus, it would be 240. So the bank space, it's a nice perk. Now, keep in mind, you can buy bag slots, and you can buy, there's a couple of pets in the crown store that give you like 5 extra slots, and then you can also upgrade your mount to get bank space. But obviously that's limited, and we all know that the more the merrier when it comes to inventory space. Now, with that 10% bonus of experience, you also get a 10% bonus to gold acquisition, crafting, inspiration, trait research, and archival fortune acquisition. So let's talk about the crafting inspiration gain. So when you have one of these little guys that have the intricate trait, it says increases your inspiration gain from deconstruction of this item by 280%. What's cool is you have 10% bonus to that on top of that. So I'm level 50 blacksmithing already, so it doesn't really matter. I usually just sell these. But if you weren't, and say you're leveling up that crafting, that particular profession, well, you're going to have an extra bonus to it. So same with the trait research. So I'm researching some stuff to research these traits, so that's going to take 10% off the timer that I have to wait to start researching the next item. So with ESO Plus, you also are able to dye your costumes, okay? Now we all know we can dye gear and stuff like that, but if you have ESO Plus, you can dye your costume. So let's say I put on a costume here, and I now can dye it with ESO Plus. I can also dye the hat. And so here we go. Let's just take this guy, let's take this, and go boom. There we go. Maybe I want to dye it this color. Maybe you're going to be white, all white. White assassin. Looks a little tan still, but you know. You can dye your costume. It's cool. So with ESO Plus, if you're a avid houser decorator, connoisseur, or if you just like housing in ESO, it doubles your amount of items you can put down in your house. Okay? So if we're looking at the housing editor here, okay, you can see over here I can have 700 traditional servicing. Okay, just basically all these stats right here are doubled because I have ESO Plus. ESO Plus also gives you the ability to carry twice as many transmute crystals. Okay, if you don't have ESO Plus, I do believe the limit is 500. Okay, and then since you do have ESO Plus, it's 1000. If you're reconstructing a lot of gear or changing a lot of traits in the Clockwork City, you have to have that DLC to be able to use these transmute crystals. Probably want that because it's nice to have the extra space. How you get these, like the main way to get these transmute crystals are doing undaunted daily quests, by the way. So basically getting the quest, running the dungeon, you get a key, and then you also get some transmute crystals in the mail. So the last thing that I'll talk about here with the ESO Plus benefits is the crown store. Okay, so you get some deals. They discount a lot of the stuff in the store for ESO Plus members, so more incentives, right? You also get some free stuff. So usually they'll give us like they'll give us a free painting. And so I collected that painting. It's grayed out because I purchased it. Well, I didn't purchase it. I got it for free. So each month there's something free in the store. Sometimes there's usually like a little statue too. I'm not exactly sure where that's at, but it's somewhere in here. I'm just not sure where it's at. But yeah, you usually get a little statue. They usually look something like this. I've collected these. So yeah, you get cool looking statue and a sometimes a painting. So is ESO Plus worth it? It depends. If you play a lot, then sure. If you don't, probably not. But it's something you can turn on and off. It's not really expensive when you think about it. It's about 15 bucks a month, but the thing is it gets cheaper the more you buy. Also, for people that say they can't afford it, okay, that's fine, don't buy it. Skip the coffee maybe 1 or 2 times a week and you got it paid for. Anyway, it's all about priority. If it's worth it to you, if it's not, so be it. So let me know in the comments. Do you guys use ESO Plus? Do you not use it? Do you like it? Do you like the perks you get with it? What do you buy with your crowns? Anyway, leave a comment below and subscribe to the channel if you like the video. And thanks for watching.